What should you do when you're having a bit of a wobble? When you are suffering from imposter syndrome, like I was earlier this week? Well, I'm going to give you the exact strategies that I used to move past my imposter syndrome this week. Now, before we get into that, a little word on imposter syndrome. I think sometimes we like to use it as an excuse to say that we don't have to move through it. We say things like, well, I suffer from imposter syndrome. Like every other person on the planet doesn't suffer from it. We all think that we're the one person who thinks about all the things that could go wrong, who doesn't feel good enough. But in reality, that's just not true. We all have a mind and a brain that does the same things because it's actually just trying to protect us. It doesn't realise that we're in this world now with different threats to what we had back in the Stone Age times, prehistoric times. But if that is you, if you are someone who lets it hold you back and forgets that everybody suffers from imposter syndrome, I want you to think about whether you're giving it too much power. Are you giving imposter syndrome too much power? Are you letting it hold you back? Because the only person you're hurting when you do that is yourself. You're not moving forward. And nothing is going to change. No outside thing is going to change to make the imposter syndrome go away. The only thing that can happen is something inside you. So this week then, I went to London, as I do every month, for the founders meeting. So there's a group of 9 founders. We all get together. We have a chat, and it's really nice. Mostly I feel understood because these are people who have started a company from nothing. They're the ideas people. And they also have teams and deal with large amounts of money. So we have a lot in common that is difficult to find in common with most people in everyone's everyday lives. But for some reason this week, I was feeling out of my depth. I don't think it helped that when I went down there, I already wasn't feeling 100%, like I had neck ache and I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to be on the train for 3.5 hours there and then 3.5 hours back, and that never helps. I don't really do very well with air conditioning. It used to just be when I wore contact lenses. Now, even wearing glasses, air conditioning, I don't know, it knocks me out. It makes me feel hungover. It makes me feel really unwell. And so I wasn't feeling great. I was feeling a bit low physically. And I've been feeling so positive recently as well. I'm getting ready for the launch of Education Business Club. Can't tell you how excited I am about that. Not only because I know it's going to help, but I feel like I finally hit on what I really want to do with it rather than what I think I should do with it. And so that's really special for me. That has been a lesson in itself, that find the thing that you really want to do and you will push forward on it and you'll be able to drive it forward, because that's what happened at Classroom Secrets. It was this thing I really wanted to do and it was the way I wanted to do it. So anyway, maybe that's an ADHD thing, I don't know, or an entrepreneurial thing. But anyway, back to the story. The day, it caught me off guard, I suppose. I was not feeling brilliant and it just took hold of me. And so that was a learning that I want you to think about. When you're suffering from imposter syndrome, does it find a way in when you're not feeling 100%? Even if that's not 100% physically, even if that's 100% mentally. Where does it have a foothold? Because that kind of knowledge is power, because it can help you going forward. So I'm sat in this meeting, and the meeting was fine, to be fair. It was more the afterward. The day after was not great. I just kept running through my head how I don't deserve to be in that group and how they're all so much more successful than me and I'm just playing at it. And that is ridiculous. I mean, I'm not going to lie, there are some really successful people in the group. If we look at Classroom Secrets as an organisation and what we've built, it's not really that much different. And I had to take some time to logically go through that. So as I was reflecting the next day, I was just thinking, oh my word, they're doing so much more than me. I'm so small fry. And it was just going round and round in my head. And so I had to reflect on that. That was an action that I took that you could take. I had to logically reflect on that. And I thought about each and every person and reasons why that's not true. Classroom Secrets as an organisation is very mission driven. We've built this machine that serves teachers amazingly. And, having a business that makes a difference like that could be considered a luxury. But in my head, I get into these situations and I think, oh my word, I'm so small here and they're so big. It doesn't go away. It does not go away. And I had to logically think about what was true and what wasn't true. And so I went through this process of just logically putting the fear in its place. The second thing that I did was I let myself have the day, knowing that it was only for that day. I wasn't feeling great anyway, so nothing was lost. Knowing that tomorrow I had to be who I was becoming again, and I couldn't be falling back into something else. So I gave myself time and space and grace. And then I did a jigsaw for a bit of the time. I had a steam bath. I sat and chatted to my eldest because it was the school holidays. I gave myself a break. I didn't worry about working that day. And then I made a commitment to go to bed early, to be able to crack on with the next day, with the right mindset, the right habits, and doing the right work. Because as much as you can have imposter syndrome, there's only you who lets it hold you back. If I let that fester, if I let that continue, I can tell you very clearly what would happen. I would not go to the next session. I would withdraw. Then I would probably say, I'm not going to come to any more sessions anymore. And I would not grow myself, and I'd go back in my little comfort zone, and the companies would suffer. That's what would happen. But I can't do that. Even though it was uncomfortable, it makes me feel vulnerable. But you've got to push through so that things can happen. I'm telling you this story 10.5 years into Classroom Secrets' journey, and 19 years after I started my first business. This is not going away. I didn't just have imposter syndrome back then. I have it now. Everybody has it. But what we do is we just give it too much energy. We give it too much energy. I wanted to take the opportunity to describe how it shows up for me right now and how I deal with it, because it's a real thing. It's still here. And you don't just get to a point where it doesn't bother you anymore. You still have to keep working through it. But I have to make that choice now to not think that way, to change my thoughts, which will then change my actions. I just have to make sure that my drive to be successful is stronger than the feelings around imposter syndrome so that I can move forward. So I hope that's been helpful today. Everybody gets it. You are going to experience it. But hopefully some of the strategies that I've shared today will help you the next time you're feeling like you're not good enough.